This has to be the most highly anticipated launch of the year. It is, of course, the introduction of the next-gen Ranger. It feels like we've been waiting for years for it to arrive, which isn't really far off. But finally, it's here in South Africa, and I'm at the launch in the beautiful Western Cape to find out what this local is lekker bakkie has to offer. Just a note, at this time, Ford is only launching the double cab variants of what it's calling its smartest, most capable, most versatile Ranger yet. The single cab and wrap cab models will all be arriving early next year, all 24 of them. Sharing Ford's global truck design DNA, this new Ranger is rather bold. It has a new grille and signature C-clamp headlight treatment at the front, while the wheel arches are that much bolder as well. The rear tail lights have also been redesigned. Overall, I would say this new Ranger has real curb presence. But it is inside where you're going to spend most of your time, right? You don't really buy a car merely to stare at it. The first thing you're going to notice when you get into this new Ranger cabin is this vertically orientated screen. It might frighten you to begin with, but it's actually pretty straightforward. And I think my favorite thing about the whole situation is that it still has these traditional buttons down here. So you can operate your aircon and your volume and everything still with a button and not have to go through a bunch of screens to get to it. At this point, there are 4 trim levels on offer: the base model, and then the XL, XLT, and Wildtrak. The latter being the fanciest of the lot. It has its own dedicated screen for all off-road and drive modes so that you can monitor the driveline, steering angle, vehicle pitch, and roll angles, etc. It is also linked to a 360-degree camera, which can be very handy when navigating this big guy into a tight parking space or when traversing tricky terrain. Something to take note of, the Wildtrak, with all its bells and whistles, has the biggest infotainment screen of the lot, and it is enormous. It's like a laptop, really. Okay, I want to show you something cool, because if you're my height, or even just average height, to get into the low box of a bakkie is quite a mission. But what Ford have done is they've put integrated footsteps behind the rear wheels. So this makes it so much easier. I can get right on in here. I'm gonna sit down, let's see how big it is. Okay. There are 3 powertrain options available: manual, auto transmissions, and then of course 4x2 and 4x4. So you've got your 2-litre single turbo and then the 2-litre bi-turbo that we all kind of have come to love, right? But what has been highly anticipated is the 3-litre V6. It's got 184 kilowatts and 600 Newton meters. I think there's one thing, and it's not necessarily to do with the drivetrain or anything like that, because that's all refined, but this gear stick is enormous. And it was the problem I had in the Amarok as well. I find my hands are too small for it. So I get it, fine. Maybe, you know, I've got like teeny tiny hands, but it's just very, very bulky. And the XLT doesn't. It's got the sort of old, sort of standard looking, you know, gear stick that you'd find in a Ranger, which I kind of prefer. But other than that, this has all the oomph, all the smoothness, all the refinement. I think Ranger lovers are going to adore it. In case this video is rather confusing, we are doing an epic road trip in this new Ranger. In fact, 3 hours of off-road, 3 hours of on-road, both days. That's 12 hours in total, 1 in the XLT, 1 in the Wildtrak. Speaking of off-roading, we did an epic adventure today, and I mean, obviously this is the most capable Ranger yet, and you could feel it. I don't think at any point I felt like we were in any danger of getting stuck or having any issues, because I feel like this just eats it all up, you know, takes it in its stride, and it was a fantastic day out, I have to say. I'm just having a look at my fuel consumption. In the Amarok last week, I managed 12 litres per 100 Ks. I'm now sitting here at 14.9 litres per 100 Ks, which is high. It is high. I would like that to be much lower. There is an exceptional list of safety features on this next-gen Ranger, from dynamic stability control to trailer sway control, pre-collision assist and reverse brake assist, to adaptive cruise control stop and go to road edge detection. What does pricing look like? Well, the range kicks off at 486,000 Rand for the 4x2 base model and climbs up to just over 950,000 Rand for the 3-litre Wild Track model. This new Ranger is better in every single way than the previous model, which it kind of has to be, right? This competition out there is really strong. It even has to compete against itself in the form of the Amarok. Wink, wink. I think Ford lovers are going to be ever so pleased with this next-gen Ranger. And don't forget, the Raptor is still on its way. And don't worry, yours truly will be there to bring you everything you need to know about that model as well.